Hello, everybody. I have something special for you today. I was talking with a CEO. His name is Joe Stolte, CEO of futurescope.com. It's an AI software for newsletters. And I wanted to talk to him about AI and bring it to you all since we're talking so much about AI in the world today. But I was shocked actually where the conversation went. We were on a Zoom and he started telling me about him being a serial entrepreneur, struggles that he had the moment when he was at his lowest, and the debt that he had incurred from his first business to then lead into his second, which hit 7 figures in under 12 months, which then led to a third, which went public, and him managing hundreds of staff. So a very interesting story he has, including some stories about cocaine and hookers. I mean, it goes to interesting places, but all very entertaining. So I'm sure you'll enjoy this week's episode, From Debt to Multi-Million-Dollar Business in Under 12 Months.
Here is your daily dose of the Ultimate Sales Machine, coming to you from the new edition. Visit ultimatesalesmachine.com to get your copy or multiple copies. I am your host, Amanda Holmes, CEO of Chet Holmes International. What you're about to learn has assisted 250,000 businesses to generate billions of dollars, working faster, better, smarter.
After my first startup failed, I mean, it was bad. Like, I had left like a $250,000 a year job and moved to LA to like be a startup founder. And after 2 years, the company was like, we got left on the altar in our Series A. We got dumped so hard, we got played, and I never saw it coming. Anyway, so I'm like, I think I was like 35,000. I used to have the number memorized. I don't anymore. It's $35,000 and change, like, in debt. And I was at Whole Foods and I was it was like one of those hot days, where it's like, it was really hot at the time. To date the story, it was when the ALS challenge was going around the internet. Remember that?
Yes. Yeah.
There was a huge drought in California, so like to dump buckets of water, it was like, because it was hot. I'm walking to Whole Foods, Venice, and I go in to buy like a bottle, like I went to grab like a ice cold bottle of water, and I purposely grabbed the bottle that was like 3 behind it, so it was like just the coldest one. I got my hot food from the hot bar. At the time I was actually vegan, so it's just a bunch of vegetables or whatever. And I go to pay for it, and like my card is so overdrawn that like it declines. I'm like, it's like one of the most embarrassing things that's ever happened to me. So I make some like stupid lie. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go to my car and get the other card, and I just walk out, and I'm just like demolished. Like, it's like the longest walk home of my life. And the next day, my roommate and I went out to eat, and he's like, oh, I got you. We went to this tuna burger place in Santa Monica. And of course, I wasn't eating tuna. I just went for the ride. And I remember listening to like a program with your dad, and it was talking about like selling to service-based businesses, basically. And at the time, this is like when social media was really starting to like, it's like everybody's parents were coming to Facebook and everyone was going to Snapchat, and like a lot of small brands, especially service-based businesses, they had no idea of like how to even use social media for their business. And I was like, why don't we just make an agency that helps them do that, And we did. It ended up being like very successful on a cash basis, and we sold that business in a year.
Wow.
But I came up with the idea from just thinking, man, like, like whether that's like your father, like Chet, or like the Jay Abrahams of the world, like there's like this millions and millions of dollars of transactions that have been done from, service-based businesses to service-based. I was like, why don't we just start one of those? It's not tech, but we'll get money. And we did, and it was awesome. And we crushed it. We was like a multi-million-dollar business before 12 months. And it was amazing. But I never would have thought of that if I hadn't listened to like those programs from your dad in the early days.
I love that. Okay. Yeah. So first one was a tech, second one was a service-based agency. Then the rest of them, the 5 that you've done, or have all been in tech otherwise?
Well, there's one before the first tech one that's not worth getting into. The next one was a company called lottery.com. If you've heard of that. We basically print mobile lottery tickets on the mobile phone, so you don't have to have a physical ticket. And then I invested in the company, and then I joined as COO. So it was like, basically running the business, everything with the engineering team. And anyway, so yeah, and came from the earliest days until, you know, we were well over 100 employees on 4 continents, and we were virtual like way before COVID. This is like 2015, 16, 17, 18.
Ooh,
So that was the next one. I left before this happened, but that company went public on a SPAC for 520 million, 26 million, something like that.
wow.
Yeah. And then I took a break. I had like this huge epiphany, like that I was in the wrong place and I was doing the wrong work that I wasn't called to be doing. And I didn't really know what was next, but I knew that what I was doing, I was not meant to be doing. Like that, whatever that was, like the startup stuff. And we were very active in like crypto, you know, like this, we like invested in the Ethereum ICO and all that stuff early.
Okay.
Just right place, right time, you know?
Okay.
But I just felt like that was the wrong place for me to be in, you know, at a very deep level. I was very convicted that I needed to get out of that. So I
Was
left.
that around when you started having children? I'm just curious. Did those intersect?
So there's actually a fun story here. So like at the time, we were raising money for lottery, and I think at the time this particular round was like over $60 million, and we had just I just met with the family office that had agreed to invest, and I was in afterwards they're like, hey, let's go party, you know. So we're in New York, and I'm in like a penthouse or whatever of this hotel, and I'm in the middle of a discussion with this person who will not be named, and he turns around, the person that was making the investment in the company, and he turns around in the middle of our deep kind of conversation at 2 a.m. and like does a line of blow, you know, just very casually. And what's funny is like that was kind of the environment that I was in like every other weekend, you know, in a different place in the world. And then why has that happened? Like the doors opened, and like I look over the guy's shoulder, and there's like all these women coming in, and a guy installing a stripper pole, and like all these women are strippers. So I was like, in that moment, I very clearly heard a voice in my head, my intuition, God, whatever you want to call it. And it was a very clear question. And the question was, you know, what decisions are you making right now that you'd be proud to explain to your son later? Because my son, my wife was in LA pregnant, you know, like 3 months from the due date.
Wow.
And so, yeah, it was just it was a very unsettling question. So I excused myself from the conversation. I went back to my hotel. I packed my stuff. I slept on the floor of the Newark airport, and I flew home. And then I basically made a path to get out of that whole world. And I just went through a massive like transformation, like figuring out, soul searching, who did I want to be and what kind of impact did I want to make on the world as an entrepreneur or a father or husband or leader. And that, that really took me on this journey that reset me, you know, in a lot of beautiful ways. Wow. And, so there's like a hard gear turn or change, if you will, in my entrepreneurial journey, just in terms of like my intentionality around what I was doing. So yeah. And then from there, I did what every good entrepreneur does when they're going through a transformation. I started a coaching practice, which was super fun and
so funny.
And it was very lucrative. It was quite successful financially. I think, we were very quickly able to build that to a 7-figure business, but I knew that was like, that's not where I was going to like hang out. That was like a way station. It wasn't the final destination. And a friend of mine who I'd worked with at Lottery had taken over as CEO of a company. He asked me to join him. I joined as the chief revenue officer. And, that's actually when I met Ted. I was inheriting a sales team that I knew needed to be transformed. And and so that's when I started revisiting Ultimate Sales Machine, and I made everyone on the team read it. And that became like our go-to-market strategy, because we couldn't do like advertising and cannabis on like the digital ads.
Yeah.
So we did a Dream 100 with a direct mail campaign. You know, we would send people like, and it was during the pandemic, right? So like we couldn't even door knock. Like, so we would send people like these socks that look like sushi, and then with like an offer, like to call us, like a sales letter. And it was like, and then
what was the tie-in between sushi socks and you should call us?
Like, get on a call with us and I'll basically DoorDash you sushi. I'll buy you lunch, and we'll have lunch on the call. And I promise to unlock, some large number of dollars in your business for free. Just get on a call with us and we'll help you with your business.
How did that convert?
I mean, at first it was weird and slow, but then it really started to work. Because it was, if you have the right strategy, right? If you have a Dream 100 and a direct mail campaign or a DM campaign or a social campaign or whatever that is, and then you have a really great product, and then you have a system after you sell it to get them to like the aha moment of your product experience or service experience quickly. And then you ask for a referral. It doesn't even have to work that good because one client turns into 3 pretty quickly. So if you have the back end really well figured out, then the ROI of the effort is quite high. And that was the case for us.
Who was a Dream 100 for you in that? You were selling to distributors, you were selling direct to consumer?
Yeah, no, it was B2B. So we were selling compliance software in the cannabis industry, which is legally mandated by all the states where cannabis is either like recreationally or medicinally legal. But you know, it's like changing like an ERP. It's like open heart surgery. It's a big switch to like switch what you have to something else. So we went after people that we thought were like earlier in their journey that maybe didn't have that. And it was just easier for us to come in with a clean slate. So our target prospect was, we started with like perfect information. We had every licensed cannabis user in like all the states we operated in. So we kind of knew like their size, and we really good data basically.
Wow.
So that was it. And then we were relentless. We would mail like 2 times a week, follow up
2 times a week.
Yeah,
direct mail.
It was, we bombarded people, but it was funny. It was good copy.
Yeah.
It was funny. And, you know, we had people call us back. It was literally like, I felt like a story out of Ultimate Sales Machine. People was like, okay, like I've read these letters to our staff so many times. I feel like we owe you a call back, you know, just because it's so good, you know? And I was like, great. Like, you know, like, I wasn't like, I was running the marketing and the sales department and doing a rebrand. So I wasn't taking the sales call. So I would just hear about these things from my team, but it was hilarious.
Oh, that's so good.
And there was like, it was funny how many people doubted it. Like, is this still going to work? You know, like this seems like old school. And I was like, trust me, it's going to work. And it did.
So where did you get that that clarity and trust? Because it is a hard thing to get the whole team to rally along that.
Well, I think 2 things. One, we didn't have a choice. It was the thick of the pandemic lockdowns, and we couldn't do digital advertising. So there was like some requirements or some environmental factors around that. But the second thing is that even before I went to college, because I started my career in corporate America, and I was studying direct response marketing. You know, I was studying like you can see up there, Gary Halbert, and this book here is like Bill Bernbach's, the book on advertising that changed everything in advertising. It's like all the best ads from the heyday of the 60s.
Oh, really?
You know, the visuals and everything. It's an amazing book if you can find it on Amazon. But I was studying like, you know, like Halbert and all the great copywriters, Eugene Schwartz, like you name it. And like my introduction to like how to market was direct response marketing.
Okay.
And then when I went to college and I worked in management consulting, I learned about strategy. So then when I started listening to your dad's material again, I was like, this is brilliant, because it's like this great synthesis of like brilliant strategy with like guerrilla direct response tactics that work, you know, kind of combined together. And usually I meet salespeople that aren't very strategic. They just have like a lot of energy, a lot of effort, and make enough calls, I'll get enough deals done. But the fusion of strategy and persistence is magic. And so I'd seen that work too many times in my life to know, like, I just knew that if we were strategic and did something that no one else was doing, and we made people laugh during the pandemic, that's of emotion worth conveying to somebody, and that's valuable, you know. Same
thing everybody needs through the recession. Okay, so we've just started this. I mean, this has been recording, right? We're just going to continue because this is so too good. It's too good. So I'm sure another topic, AI, right? Yeah. It's been on the periphery. People have been thinking about it. Some people are more advanced than others. What got you into what you're doing right now? And tell me about this world that you're living in.
Yeah. So we ended up selling GrowFlow, took it from about $1 million in revenue to $8 million. And then we sold it for $62.5 million, kind of right before the tech.
That's a nice multiple.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was great. And I think if we would have waited, I don't know if we would have gotten as great of an outcome. But at the time, I knew the sale was going to happen, and I got introduced to my current business partners, Evan Pagan and Dr. Peter Diamandis.
I didn't know that your business partners with Evan Pagan. I love him.
And that's funny because I tell people that, and it's like sometimes people are like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you're partners with Peter." But like I was like, more impressed by being able to be the business partner of Eben Pagan because I learned so much from his content too,
He's so wonderful. He took care
Yeah.
of me a lot right after my father passed. He would just check in and say, "How are you doing? Let's get on a 15-minute call." I was like, I never met anybody that actually was productive in 15 minutes until I met Evan Pagan.
Like
But he would
emotionally
just,
productive.
yeah, in every
Yeah.
way. I mean, majority of the time, the 15 minutes turned into much more. But he always checked in on me, and I was like, "That's so wonderful of you," and I never forgot that. Okay, so
Yeah.
you met your business partners.
We met those guys, and I'll just say, like, I can't overstate what Eben has done, like, in my life in terms of my thinking and just even years before I met him. Another one of those guys that just had a tremendous
Big
impact.
thinker. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're always talking meta when you're talking to him.
Yeah, actually, when I started my entrepreneurial journey, like he got me, like, listening to his programs, what started me meditating.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. That's good.
Yeah, so super cool. Anyway, so AI. So I met these
Yes.
guys, and they had this tool. It was amazing. They had an alpha product where they were using AI to make an automated email newsletter for Peter and his audience. And it was like over 100,000 subscribers. It was going out 5 days a week and had like a 60% open rate. So it was just extraordinary what they built.
Wow.
And I was like, cool, how many customers does the business have? They're like 0, basically. And I was like, look, guys, for the last 3 years, I've been in a closet sending sushi socks, selling cannabis software. Like, I can sell this, this is amazing. So it just seemed extraordinary. And then I started to really, like, dive into the industry. One of the things I learned in management consulting was how to, like, really synthesize information quickly and ramp up on an industry. So I started going really deep into, like, AI and the possibility and the tool that they had built. And, eventually I said, well, let's bring this to market. And if it works, make me CEO. I became CEO last year. We raised a little bit of money, but the thing is, I started, the more I dug into AI, the more I was just blown away. Like, I was calling, like, some of the smartest friends I knew in tech, and I was like, why aren't we doing AI stuff? Like, this is insane. And it was just, it's mind boggling how important it is. It's going to be as important as electricity. I genuinely believe that. So if you want to understand how AI is going to transform everything, go back and read stories about how electricity transformed everything. Go back and, like, read narratives and watch movies, and it's going to have that level of an impact, maybe even bigger. Everything is going to have AI in it. Everything is going to have a certain kind of computational intelligence that we just don't have today. And if you can see the world through that lens, you can start to get a little glimmer into, like, hey, we're just at the beginning. We're at the top of the first inning of this AI revolution. And I got that immediately when I started digging into it. And so when I became CEO, I just used that enthusiasm to help people. We work with small SMB, right? So if you've got more than $1 million in revenue, but like less than 50 in a small team, you maybe have a customer list of emails that, you could be communicating with them more consistently. And we have an amazing product that can give you a consistent communication to your customer every single week. And it will get better results than a human can, because it's watching what every single one of your subscribers is doing, and it's customizing the newsletter in aggregate to make it more and more interesting for your specific audience, for your customers, for your people. And it's extraordinary. I mean, it is, like, I'm baffled at what AI is doing right now. Like, every day I hear about a new cool use case, and even the things that we're building, it's incredible. It's a whole
That
new
is shocking to me. So I had this experience the other night. I was on Instagram, and I was writing a direct message to one of my close friends. And I was talking about how I was, it would be really great if I had more friends that were acrobats, because I really want to get better at acrobatics. I was a gymnast for 16 years. So acrobatics was interesting to me. And then I went to videos to start watching videos. And then every video, as soon as I wrote that in the direct message, all of my videos turned into acrobatics videos. And then I kept sharing it to my friend going, look at what the algorithm is doing. Look at what the algorithm is doing. It's sending me all of these acrobats.
Yeah.
How amazing. And then while I was talking to that person, then it started giving me feeds of videos that I knew that person would like to watch. I'm like, look, now the algorithm's sending me videos that you will like. It was like so polar different from what I would like. And I was so fascinated how much it kept my attention. And I was so cognizant of it, right? Because I was showing, look at this. It's showing me what I wrote, and now it's showing me what you would like to see. So I'm sending this to you. So we continue talking on the platform while I continue to watch these videos. And I was also sharing, I don't watch Netflix. I go on Facebook Watch, and you can go to Facebook Watch and it'll give you videos based on what you like to see, right?
Yeah.
So I had instead of watching a whole show, I'll go on there and it'll give me 15-minute to 20-minute shortened versions of shows. So I'll watch a show triple time on Facebook Watch, and I don't have to go through Netflix to curate it. I'm just going through and picking every 3 I watch, and it turns out to be like the strangest of things that capture my attention. I would have not even really noticed it until the algorithm starts curating it for me. So I'm thinking, and I've been observing this and finding it very fascinating, because as a marketer, right, I want to figure out how can I grab the attention of my people that are consuming my material. So yes, in short increments, right, micro content is important. And then the consistency, because it used to take 7 different touches for someone to capture the attention and remember your brand, but now it's like 500 times they have to see it before they remember it. It's just absurd.
Yeah.
So as I've been observing this and experiencing this and finding it fascinating and applying it to how I make my presence online. And then when you said AI for curating of subscriber, I'm feeling that what I've been experiencing on Facebook, on Instagram, you can do in a business.
Yeah, that's a very good analogy. I think the thing that people should wrap their head around, if you're a marketer, this is obvious. If you're not, it's that when every time I'm on Facebook, like I have to pay to reach my audience if I want to do that with any scale or intentionality.
Yeah.
But if I have like an owned marketing channel, like SMS or email or even like Telegram or Slack or whatever, like that's my list. I can communicate to people for the most part without paying for it. But then bring that same kind of AI algorithmic logic to optimize for what I'm sending them. You know, it's very difficult for like you can write, even if you have like a really world-class at copy and you really understand your market, that's awesome, because that's a really good input to start to get people's attention. Because even the best direct response marketers weren't looking at how every single individual behaved, right? And then making that kind of like aggregate calibration. And who has time for that unless you have like a bunch of data scientists and a huge team? So what we're trying to do is like really democratize that so that you can build AI intelligence for your audience. Like, what do they want to see? And what are they most interested in? And then if you're creating content, you can see what they're most interested in and what you're most excited about, and then make content where it overlaps. And you're kind of de-risking the creation process, because they're more likely to be interested in it, right? Because they're interested in similar content.
I have a ton of market data for you, because, I have Empire Research Group. So 40% of content online actually hinders the probability of a sale, because we don't understand how to put the right content in front of our buyers, which would be a great smoking gun for you, I think.
Oh, I love that.
Good stat. Yeah. And for every $1 you spend on email marketing, you get on average $42 back. So yours is just on steroids. Yeah. My advice has been hire a copywriter if you don't do copy, right? Email is the gold that you're sitting on that you don't even know about, because so many people just don't treat their list or their customer database or their prospects very well, unless you get into the digital marketing savvy person. But a regular, HVAC company or a doctor or a, manufacturer, they don't do that kind of work. So
yeah,
it sounds like you help them bridge that gap.
I love that. Yeah. And what the vision that we have for the company is, you want to build like the world's first AI CMO for a small business. So what does that mean? That means like like you can write a prompt, or like if we could be in the Zoom meeting and I could, if we call our AI Ace, I could say, hey, Ace, send a 3 email sequence to my unengaged email subscribers to get them re-engaged, and unsubscribe the ones that don't respond. And it will just know all the logic of an email sequence. Like if someone clicks in the beginning, don't send them the next 2. It'll personalize it based on their interactions with you. So if they're a doctor, it'll say, Dr. Holmes versus, Ms. Holmes or whatever. And it will personalize the message, right? And then if we have your social media data, your LinkedIn or your Twitter, it'll bring that data in to make the copy more personalized, right? And it can do that with machine-like precision. and it can measure and aggregate how it works across the different people that that's sending to, and it gets smarter every time it does it. And you can just send it a prompt and it'll do it. And that's not like science fiction. It's coming in like 10 years. Like that's a few months away. Like we'll be doing that this summer for our customers. We're doing that for ourselves right now. Every week we send 5,000 emails that are personalized to each person. The copy is mostly the same, but each one is personalized to the individual. The body copy changes based on how they interact with our data.
Woo! And where do people find you? How do we know more about this?
Awesome. Well, today you can find more at futurescope.com, and I'm sure it'll redirect. But in just a few weeks, about a month, we're rebranding to daily.ai.
Okay.
Futurescope.com for right now.
Okay. Thank you. Holy cow. That's such great information. What a crazy, amazing story you have.
Make sure to get your copy or copies at theultimatesalesmachine.com. There's a lot of special bonuses that you can't get going to Amazon, so make sure you check it out at ultimatesalesmachine.com.